Well, I'm Doug Howard.
I'm Sandy Howard.
And we have two children, Barrett and Brittany. Barrett is the pastor of Radiant Grayson County, and Brittany works in the ER in Nashville. We have 6 grandkids, and we've just been on a whirlwind journey the last year or two, and moving to Grayson County and starting a new ministry down there with Radiant. And it kind of started through Man Up. Barrett went to Lincoln Trail, and I was supposed to go that night and didn't. And Barrett ended up meeting Robert McKenzie at Lincoln Trail, Man Up, and they got to talking about the possibility of starting a church in Grayson County, and so that's kind of how Radiant started in Grayson County through Man Up. And not a coincidence, but it was something that I think God had planned all along, and it was pretty awesome.
I wanted to say that Doug is really pumped up, fired up, ready when Man Up rolls around. And I couldn't think of a better place for him to go hang out with guys who love Jesus, sitting around a table, fellowshipping, and listen to someone tell their story. But I got the privilege, and Doug might talk about that here, of being on the serving side when we had a Man Up that we hosted at Radiant Brandenburg. And that was just great, seeing all these men come through the line and really warmed my heart. But what the special part of that night was hearing all those men singing and praising God. And I had always thought listening to little kids was such a sweet thing. But I'm telling you, when you get 300 guys in a room and they're all singing and praising and just worshiping God, that was just a pure icing on the cake. And I'll never forget that night.
What most people probably don't know is Barrett and I cooked for that Man Up that we had at Radiant. And when he asked me if I would do it, and I was tickled to death to cook and provide barbecue for the guys. And when he asked me, he said, "Oh, we're looking at maybe 180 to 200 people." And I said, "Well, okay, we need this many pork butts." And he ended up getting like 14. And I said, "Oh, that's way too much. We won't need that many." And he said, "Oh, we'll sell them if we don't, use it all." And so we got here, and there was probably 200 people here when we got here. And we were like, "Oh my gosh, hopefully we've got enough." And we started pulling pork butts, and we would work, and they kept saying, "The line's out the door, the line's out the door." And so we just kept pulling pork butts, and we were down to the last one, and they said the line was still out the door. And I said, "We're not going to have enough." And I didn't know what to do. And when we got done and we got that pork butt out there, and next thing I knew, everybody was sitting down eating. And I don't know if God blessed it and it multiplied, but it sure did seem like we didn't have enough, and it ended up being enough. But it was such a blessing to see that many people come through, and everybody just, that night was so special. And I've heard a lot of people talk about it on the interviews, and it was just it was a special night for Man Up, and I think it set the tone in Meade County.
Talking about our lives, it's made a difference in our marriage. We'll be married 46 years this month, but Man Up has just been another vehicle that has helped us to ground ourselves in our faith. And Doug was working, driving the truck. And so leaving every morning, you worry about him, you think about him during the day, but, and he also had obstacles, through the day driving and other drivers that were around him. But when he came home and the night said he was going to Man Up, it was just something that he looked forward to. And I looked forward to it too, because when he came home, he was just filled with the goodness of God, and being around buddies that he went to school with, or that he played softball or basketball with, or even going to other churches, guys that we played softball with. It was just a neat pick me up. And I think it holds you accountable. I think guys meeting every month, they have shared, they might be sitting at the table sharing something, and the next month you follow up. How's it going now? And that accountability is really important, to have somebody there. I say good guys, hanging out with good guys who love Jesus. And that's what I think a lot of Man Up is about.
Yeah, and you hear everybody talk about the 90% that we all agree on and the 10%. I really think there's less than 10% that we don't agree on. I've been a Baptist, Methodist, Catholic, right? And I've seen it all. And there's really, it's a so minute amount of things that we disagree on. And that's one thing I love about Man Up. It's never brought up. It's never a factor. You just come in, you worship, you praise together. Whether you're Catholic, Baptist, Methodist, it doesn't matter. And we don't even, that was the thing I was kind of hesitant about when I first started. I thought, well, there'll be these guys over here and everybody, and it's not like that. Everybody just comes together, worships, and we hug and praise each other. And it's just so fun to see that and break down those walls that we've always had up that we thought we couldn't get through. And I think Man Up is the vehicle that's doing that and helping all of our churches come together and know that there's we're building a kingdom. We're not, and it's His kingdom, and it's not ours. So we're not worried about that. That
makes me think of a retreat that I went to one time, and the lady said, everybody out loud say what church you attend, what denomination you attend. And so it was all blurberish. When we all responded. And she said, now who's the Lord of your life? And we all said, Jesus. And it was just in harmony. And I believe that's an example of Man Up. Everybody's coming with to worship the Lord and just see how He's moved in that man's life, whoever tells their story that night, or whoever maybe gets on a praise team and it's the first time they're in front of a bunch of men. That's just stepping out on faith that you can do what you've been called to do if you just keep your eyes on the Lord.